Okay, here's a thought. What if everything you thought you knew about sex, about pleasure,
Mm.
maybe even how to live a full life,
Mm-hmm.
was turned on its head by a tomato?
A tomato. Intriguing start.
Right. So today we're diving deep into this really surprising philosophy of slow sex and orgasmic meditation. It's based on the work of Nicole Daedon.
And this deep dive, it's really about more than just sex itself. Our mission here is to try and uncover a path to deeper nourishment, maybe connection, and a kind of sustainable happiness that genuinely applies to, well, every part of your life.
Oh, so.
We'll explore how slowing down, really paying attention, and truly feeling can transform pretty much everything.
Okay, so we're going to unpack this. We've got some fascinating anecdotes, some practical insights, and maybe even, like you said, a radical rethinking of what orgasm actually means for you, the listener.
Let's get into it.
Right. Let's start with this story from Nicole Daedon's childhood. It really sets the scene. She grew up in suburban California. This was back in the 70s. Her uncle Bob, who worked for Rolling Stone, long beard, the whole deal. He grew these amazing heirloom tomatoes.
The gnarly looking ones, right? Not the perfect supermarket kind.
Exactly. She calls them deformed. He brings them to her mother, who's a bit hesitant at first, but then she takes one bite.
Yeah.
Pure bliss, apparently.
Oh.
Just total transformation on her face.
Uh,
So Nicole tries one
and she gets it.
instantly. She said it wasn't like any tomato she'd known, those mealy, bland ones. This was rich, earthy, dense. You could taste the minerals. Pure saturation. And she said it took command. It had this built-in speed limit. You couldn't just wolf it down. You had to taste it.
And that's where Uncle Bob drops the wisdom bomb.
Pretty much, she tells her, Nugget, the most important thing you will ever do in this life is to really taste a tomato.
Which sounds simple, but it's profound. That's the core teaching, isn't it? It's a metaphor for engaging with all of life's experiences fully. No rushing, no expectations, just tasting.
Like how she thought all tomatoes were just okay, kind of bland.
Right. And just like that, many people approach sex, or even their whole lives, thinking, yeah, I know what this is, assuming there's nothing more to discover. Slow sex essentially promises the opposite, an experience that's saturating, nourishing, and delicious beyond expectation.
That difference between just, consuming something and truly experiencing it, it brings us to another key idea. Art versus science.
Ah, yes, the grandma story.
Her Ukrainian grandma, who was apparently an incredible cook, Nicole makes something from a home ec recipe, very precise, follows all the steps.
It's very scientific.
Totally.
Yeah.
Presents it proudly. Grandma takes a bite, spits it out, and says, "You killed this food with the recipe."
Ouch. But what a lesson.
Her grandma's way was about getting into relationship with the food,
Yeah.
feeling what it needed.
Exactly. That's the contrast. Science starts from what we know, follows rules, aims for guaranteed outcomes. Like baking from a precise recipe, you expect a certain cake.
Yeah.
Art, though, it starts with a question. It embraces the unknown. It values this intimate relationship with the process more than a guaranteed result.
So it's less about control.
Precisely. Nicole puts it beautifully. A masterpiece doesn't actually require you to master anything at all. It simply requires you to feel, to listen, and to trust yourself. That difference, it's crucial.
And this is where it gets really interesting, applying that art versus science idea to intimacy. Because we often treat sex like a science, don't we?
We absolutely do. Strong expectations, a focus on good outcomes, like mutual orgasms happening every time, perfect synchronization. The recipe. But sex isn't like that. It's inherently, well, it's messy and inconsistent. It's more like a force of nature, not some lab experiment with a guaranteed result.
And trying harder to follow that recipe.
Ironically, it can totally kill the sex. It creates pressure, takes you out of the moment.
Okay, so speaking of pressure and expectations, this scientific approach seems to have created a real, a cultural conundrum, as Daedon calls it, around female orgasm.
Definitely. It's almost always compared to the male model, climax, which makes it seem like this difficult problem child.
Yeah, and that leads to pressure on women, right? To perform, maybe even fake it, to make sure their partner feels adequate.
It's a common dynamic,
Yeah.
But what if that whole comparison is just wrong?
How do you mean?
Well, Nicole Daedon makes this pretty radical statement. She says, I have never met a woman who is not right now, at this moment, orgasmic.
Okay, wait, that needs unpacking.
Yeah.
Because most people hear orgasmic and think climax.
Exactly. And that's the key distinction. Orgasm, in this view, is not the same as climax. Orgasm is defined simply as the body's ability to receive and respond to pleasure. Pure and simple.
Ah, okay. So climax can be part of it.
Often it is, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not the sum total. Understanding that difference, really internalizing it, it changes everything. It's incredibly freeing.
That is a revolutionary idea.
Yeah.
So if someone's always just thought orgasm equals climax, what's the biggest mental hurdle to get over to embrace this wider definition?
I think the biggest challenge is letting go of the goal. We're so conditioned to see sex, or even pleasure, as heading towards a finish line climax.
Right.
But if orgasm is about the body's capacity to receive pleasure moment by moment, then the finish line kind of disappears. It's about the journey, not just the destination.
And this changes how we see things.
Hugely. It opens up the idea that women are just as orgasmic as men, maybe even more so, but they often don't want the sex that's usually on the menu. It highlights that focusing only on climax is like, well, she says, it's like reading just the last line of a book. You miss the entire story.
Okay, so if we want to embrace this broader idea, this slow sex philosophy, and its practice,
Right.
orgasmic meditation, or OM, there are three core ingredients.
That's right. 3 key things. The first is stripping down.
Stripping down, like taking clothes off.
Not just literally, though that can be part of it. It means being willing to strip sex down to the barest essentials, adding nothing extra.
Okay.
Think of like an interior designer clearing out a super cluttered room. They take everything out, then only bring back the pieces that are truly essential, truly sensational.
So applying that to sex means letting go of expectations.
Exactly. Letting go of the harder and faster mentality, maybe even putting aside things like vibrators, at least for a while, just to reset and see what's underneath all that.
Got it. What's number 2?
The second is paying attention to sensation. Nicole calls this the salt for sex.
Salt for sex. I like that.
Yeah. Just like salt enhances food flavor, attention makes sex, and pleasure in general exponentially better. But it's about focusing on concrete sensation in the body, like, oh, there's a heavy, flattened feeling here, or that's tingly.
Rather than labeling it as an emotion, like saying, I feel happy.
Precisely. It's more direct, more embodied. Many of us, she argues, have this layer of desensitization that needs reversing because we've learned to ignore subtle body cues.
Makes sense. And the third ingredient.
This one is often the toughest. Asking for what you desire.
Ah. Yeah, I can see that being hard.
Especially, perhaps, for women. There's often deep conditioning against voicing sexual desires openly. Fears about being seen as bad, or maybe worrying about damaging a partner's ego.
Which leads to...
It can lead to what she calls desire paralysis. Like, you're so cut off from your real wants that you either don't know what you desire, or you short order, you ask for much less than you actually crave.
And Nicole's own story really underlines this, doesn't it? She talks about feeling bored as hell, even though her life looked perfect on paper.
Right. Graduated with honors, master's work, great relationship, prestigious mentor, all the external boxes ticked.
But inside...
She felt like she was withering on the vine. Because she hadn't stripped down her life from all those external shoulds, she wasn't really paying attention to her own inner feelings, and she definitely wasn't asking for what she truly desired.
So it's diving into these principles in a sexuality class initially that changed things.
That's what she says. It was the beginning of the rest of her life. It reconnected her to a deeper sense of joy and nourishment.
Okay, so stripping down, paying attention, asking for desire. How do you actually practice this? That's where orgasmic meditation, OM, comes in.
Exactly. OM is the practice framework. It's described as a simple meditative practice where the man strokes the woman's genitals for 15 minutes.
And they're very clear it's not sex in the usual sense.
Right. It's a specific practice, almost like a meditation or a form of partnered yoga, but the skills learned there, they're described as revolutionary when applied to traditional sex.
What does it actually involve? Is there a key step?
One really interesting step is called noticing. During OM, the person stroking the partner visually describes the woman's genitals, like just neutrally observing. Your inner labia look like coral, or it fades into a pearlescent pink here.
That sounds potentially awkward, or maybe incredibly intimate.
Both, maybe. But the idea is it's incredibly powerful. For women who often carry shame or embarrassment about their bodies, simply being seen, described neutrally, without judgment, it can be deeply healing.
And for the stroker, the man in this description.
For men, it can help demystify what might feel like a scary or unknown part of female anatomy. It builds presence and attention.
And it's not just the person being stroked, the receiver, who benefits.
No, that's key. The stroker also experiences just as much orgasm in that expanded sense of connection and sensation. There's an anecdote from a student, Jennifer.
What did she say?
She was describing stroking her partner and said, "My finger was a valve and the orgasm just came right through it and filled up my entire body. It's about attuning to sensation, whether it's technically in your body or the body you're touching."
Wow. Okay, so for you listening, if you're thinking about trying something like this, what are common roadblocks or experiences? What if someone doesn't climax?
That's a really common point, and the answer is many women do not climax. Climax is not the goal. The focus is simply on feeling the sensation of the stroke and noticing the orgasmic energy, whatever that feels like. There's often a grounding practice at the end to help integrate the experience without frustration about outcomes.
What if someone says, I couldn't feel anything?
Also very normal, apparently. It often
Yeah.
comes back to that lifetime of desensitization. Nicole herself said it took her almost 3 years to really feel subtle sensation again. The advice is usually to focus on what you do feel, even if it's numbness or just pressure. And maybe ask for more pressure initially, just to start waking things up.
And what about pain, if someone feels pain?
That can happen too. It might be physiological, needing a lighter touch, maybe stroking the clitoral hood instead of directly on the glands or using lube. Or it could be psychological, like unresolved anger or trauma surfacing.
Oh, it's information.
Exactly. It's an opportunity to practice asking for your needs lighter, slower. Sometimes the advice is even to stay with the pain as a sort of research project, because there can be a breakthrough on the other side once the need is acknowledged or the emotion moves through.
It really sounds like the parallel to yoga holds true. OM is to conventional sex, but yoga is to conventional exercise.
It's a great analogy. Both are art forms, really. Conventional exercise might focus on reps or miles, a quantifiable goal. Yoga asks you to stay with your breath, explore the posture, notice the sensations. Falling out is part of it.
Right, no judgment.
And OM seems similar. It emphasizes the journey, staying present with sensation, letting go of needing a specific outcome.
So taking these principles, stripping down attention, desire, how do they translate outside of OM into sort of regular life and relationships?
Well, what's fascinating is how universal these insights seem to be. Nicole shares some really powerful points about understanding partners, framed as what men should know about women and vice versa.
Okay, give us one for the women.
A key one is, for women, everything is connected. Her body, her heart, her sex. It's all linked. So, as she puts it, sex can never be merely sex. It's right there in the middle of the full catastrophe.
The full catastrophe meaning everything that's going on in her life.
Yeah, her whole being. True connection for her often requires engaging all of it, which relates to the idea that women want sex just as much as men, but maybe not the sex that's usually on the menu. They might crave more variety, more presence, permission to explore their unique way of experiencing orgasm.
Interesting. And what about what women should know about men?
A powerful one is about acknowledgement. It suggests that men experience acknowledgement through a woman's happiness. The measure of his manhood is how happy you are.
So her genuine happiness is a reflection for him.
Kind of. And related to that, approval turns him on. Not false praise, not flattery, but genuine appreciation and approval. That authenticity really fuels connection and desire for him.
So these aren't just bedroom skills.
Not at all. They translate directly into how you interact in regular sex, too. Intercourse, oral sex, anything. It's about applying those same ingredients. Stripping down expectations, really feeling the sensations, daring to ask for what you truly desire.
It's about learning how to hold the experience, maybe,
Yeah.
savoring it instead of rushing.
Exactly. Staying present with the sensations as they unfold. And when you drop that goal-focused approach, a different kind of climax can emerge, one that feels like it rolls through you rather than happening to you. Gratification becomes available in each moment, not just at the end.
Which leads us towards this ultimate goal, this really intriguing concept she calls the 4-month orgasm. Now, that doesn't mean
Right. It's not a literal 4-month-long climax. That would be something else.
exhausting, probably.
Probably. No, it's orgasm in the expanded sense. It's about cultivating a state of total absorption in pleasurable sensation. The idea is moving towards a kind of lifelong orgasm, a state where you feel turned on, connected, alive in every minute of every day.
Wow. Okay. How does one even begin to cultivate that?
Well, it requires a pretty fundamental shift. As Nicole says, you have to let go of the comfort of being told what to do by the outside world and start looking for direction within.
Tuning into yourself.
Exactly. You have to start charting your own course, using your own compass. And that compass,
Yeah.
it's your own desire.
Desire is the compass.
Hmm.
But isn't there a fear there if everyone just follows their desire? Won't it lead to chaos? like barbaric hedonism.
That's the common fear, absolutely.
Mhm.
We tend to think our desires are this bottomless pit we'll fall into. But Nicole shares her own experience with this. She was insatiable for OM at first, practicing constantly.
Okay.
Then one day, she just didn't want it. She felt no desire for it. She was confused, maybe even felt guilty. Her teacher simply asked, "Did it ever occur to you that you might have just gotten full?"
Ah, like hunger. You eat until you're satisfied.
Exactly. Desire in this view isn't endless. It gets satisfied. And the natural world is offered as the example here. Desire is the evolutionary driver. When every species follows its unique desires, the bee for nectar, the flower wanting pollination, it creates a complex functioning ecosystem, not a war zone.
So the practical takeaway is,
It means fighting against desire gets you nowhere. Trying to suppress it or ignore it is counterproductive. Living a truly turned-on life, a vibrant life, means fueling it with desire, not with fear or obligation.
and it involves a shift in how we operate.
Yes, a shift from what she calls the action channel, always doing, striving, directing, to the receiving channel, opening up to allow things to come to you, noticing synchronicities, things feeling easier.
Receiving. That connects to another idea, the yes principle.
It does. So in OM, you might develop preferences, right? Liking certain strokes more than others. But eventually the idea is to reach a point where you can get off on any stroke. Meaning you learn to say yes internally to whatever sensation is arising, even the ones you might initially resist or judge as not right. It builds this capacity to find nourishment or enjoyment in any experience, to draw richness from it.
So it's about saying yes to life, essentially,
Yeah.
whatever stroke life offers.
That's the ultimate extension of it, yes. Letting go of rigid preferences allows a whole world of previously unavailable experiences and opportunities to open up.
So wrapping this all up, it seems slow sex is really far more than just a set of techniques. It's a whole philosophy.
It really is. It's a way of approaching life to make it richer, more connected, more, well, turned on. It's about remembering this innate capacity we all have for pleasure, for sensation, and learning to trust our desire as a guide.
You don't have to add more stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. You don't have to add anything complicated to your sex or your life. Orgasm, in this expanded sense, kind of knows how to take care of itself if you let it. The key is pay attention. Pay attention to the actual sensation in your body. That's the doorway.
And follow your desire.
Yeah.
Use it as that compass.
That's the core message. Always follow your desire.